Hello, I'm Jonah Guelzo. Throughout the last few years, I've had the privilege to meet and work alongside some incredibly talented creative minds, serving the film industry, both mainstream and independent alike. In this week's Rode highlight, I got to speak with Academy Award winning and multi-nominated Supervising Sound Editor Lon Bender. Since co-founding the renowned audio post-production company Soundelux in 1982, Bender has continued to pursue his passion for film sound, working on countless feature films. From modern-day hits like The Revenant, The Hunger Games, Drive, to epic war classics like Braveheart and We Were Soldiers.
First job I had in the film industry was during my teenage years when I was still in high school. I had an after-school job at a place called Bender Productions. The first thing I did was spend a lot of time cleaning film prints. And ultimately I was able to start doing some camera work there and editing. The next job was coming out of high school when we started Soundelux. We worked in the guest house of William Peter Blatty's mansion in Beverly Hills. We worked on his film, it was called Twinkle Twinkle Killer Kane. It's a non-union project, and the union said, well, you can't work for him because he's non-union, but you can start your own company. And that's what we did. We worked during a time period when the industry was closing a lot of its sound departments. There was a lot of films that needed film sound, and we were one of the first independent companies to fulfill that. The first film we did was a mini-series called Space for Dick Wolf at Paramount, which was a 13-hour mini-series. And 13 hours was like a big job because that was like, 7 feature films. During that same time, we did a film called Coal Miner's Daughter for Universal, which got a Best Sound nomination. We met many filmmakers during those early years that started long relationships with the filmmaking community, and we were very intent on supporting the creative side of the industry. My own experience as a supervisor began in the early 80s, late 70s. It was important to understand all aspects of the process, as the process at that time was separated more and delineated more because you had actual physical elements in different places and you need to understand how that process worked. There always is a project where you transition from one thing to another. Mid-2005, 2006 period, I was no longer involved in any kind of management of Soundelux. I was back strictly in the world of creative work. I had an offer to do a show on Broadway called Tarzan, and in that case they needed someone that could edit everything and mix everything there, and I said, oh, I can do that. That show transitioned me from someone that wasn't sure even how to turn on a Pro Tools and open a session to be able to not only do editing but also do a lot of mixing. But every project also provides you with something that you will do a lot of. There's the projects that you do a lot of car engines, or projects where you do a lot of weapons. Every show is unique, and that's one of the greatest things of this field. You're always doing something different. The biggest thing that makes me unique from other supervisors is that I approach the process as an organized supervisor, letting creative ideas happen in a very calm and supported environment. The significance of my role leading the sound team is, 50% of the experience of the audience. We are filling out a two-dimensional world. You're expanding it beyond the screen by creating the space within which the actors are telling their story and they're delivering their performances. When you realize it's just the right sound at just the right level, it really gives you fulfillment. It's the subtle things that create depth that really are important when it comes to sound production. I think that the filmmaking process is becoming more reliant on digital technologies. One of my concerns is a lot of films look like they are video instead of film. I think it's a problem that there is an evolution of the home theater systems that are keeping people from going to the cinemas. So I'd like to do what I can to help expand the theater experience so that way we can get people to continue to go to theaters and experience things together in a community. My biggest single word of advice that I give to anyone that's interested in pursuing a sound career, learn how to use Pro Tools. Because everyone that works in sound uses Pro Tools. Knowing how to use this equipment, even peripherally, is imperative for anyone that's interested. because it's a one system world right now. You need to be able to walk in anywhere, and if they say, do you know how to use Pro Tools? You have to go, yeah, I do.